Shalom Sharala. Before we go into this lesson, we give all honor, all glory, and all praises be to Yahweh, Bahasham Yaharashai, Bahasham Rakakodash. We give double honor to the apostles and prophets and elders of James Camp, that honor us great mercy for the bring forth the 100% truth that have been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David, and Aaron Beltesari are coming to this lesson. The question I need to ask, the topic of the lesson, we're going into what we know as polygyny. Because a female asked about it, she asked me about it, and of course I was there to explain and break it down to her. So polygyny is according to law and testament, according to scriptures. I will show you that just now. Let's get the definition of polygyny first, and then we get into the other aspects after. Alright? So, don't know why they brought it up, but it is what it is. Polygyny is a form of marriage in which one man has more than one wife at the same time. It is a specific type of polygamy, which polygamy is having multiple spouses. General term, polygyny is one husband, multiple wives. We have polyandry is one wife, multiple husband, which we know is known as adultery according to the scriptures. So what we're dealing with right now is how the scriptures and how Yahweh Shemir Shai viewed and placed it together, so we could understand that polygyny is the truest sense and way in terms of if somebody wants to have more than one wife, is the truest sense of way to be added or to be a part of the scriptures. And we have many people, many of our forefathers would have partaken at same part, showing what polygyny really is. Alright, and yes, it is not unlawful to have more than one wife. It's not a sin to have more than one wife. The Bible actually says for those who want to, they can partake of, but criteria are met. Let's directly deal it. Like go back into the definition so you can continue. Historically, polygyny has existed in parts of Africa and Middle East and Asia, and it appears in the Bible with men like Abraham, Jacob, and David. Let's not forget Gershom, I believe, who had multiple sons. So we know that would include more than one wives, as we know, as well as Saul, Solomon, a few others. You know, just calling true. But there's a lot of people, a lot of individuals in the scriptures that showcased having multiple wives as to it work out exponentially for them. Because if it's expedient to them, if they have the resources to do so, it's not a problem. If it's not taking up of their time of Yahweh Shemir Shai, then they are applicable to do so, as we know. Right? So let's continue. Biologically, it refers to a reproductive pattern where one man mates with multiple females, a system seen in many animal species as well. So we already understand and identify it being a normal biological way of living according to the standard of how it's supposed to be. Alright? Hence the scriptures, as mentioned, to be fruitful and multiply. Remember, asking this question: would it be profitable to have more than one wife in the aspect of being fruitful and multiply? Yes. If it's like a man given, and a man wants to spread his seed, especially dealing with the beginning times, which is why we see these names being here, then it is more applicable for them to have more than one wives, so that they can bring forth seed and multiply on the earth exponentially, as we know. Right? Good. So now, as we dealt with that, we could show you that the scriptures actually entertains or allows you, not entertains, wrong word, allows you to partake of polygyny. Notice that I have to phrase my words correctly, because I don't want you to say I'm saying polygamy or polyandry. Polygyny, Polygyny. That's what I'm saying. Alright, let's go into it now. So when you go into the scriptures, in Exodus 21 and verses 10, it clarifies for those who want to partake in polygyny can do so with these requirements. As you read Exodus 21 verse 10, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not be diminished. That is the requirements of having more than one wife, which would entails resources, which would not be expedient in this time for us if we lack the resources thereof to take care of multiple or more than one wife. All right, as we in captivity, we are yet this day in our captivity as according to the scriptures, and we are subject to payments, bills, taxes, and still have to buy foods and all this. I say it would be more of a burden in this time, but it is not unlawful. It also takes up of time from the individual, especially if they are serving Yahweh Shemir Shai, which is why Paul made that statement in Corinthians chapter 7. We're going on to verses 8, which we are going to address as well. So you could understand now that polygyny is accepted in the scriptures. It is not unlawful. So yeah, you wouldn't have, but it's only if it's expedient to do so, then you can. If you have the resources and it would not be time consuming, no problem. If it is, especially if you're serving Yahweh Shemir Shai, then I wouldn't be advised. All right, let's go into it. So verses 11, for the individual that cannot or unable to provide these criterias, and if he do not these three unto her, then she shall go out free without money. So you see where if it don't work out, where he can't provide the resources, you can't continue in that aspect. So there are laws set in place for things like this. Let me also show you another aspect as to where the scriptures very clearly identify that if a man has another wife. Let's just reiterate quick, which is Deuteronomy 21 and verse 15, I believe. Alright, bear with me. It says, it says, if a man have two wives, because it's already been accepted, for polygyny has already been accepted, if a man choose to partake of such, if a man, and this is a more thorough breakdown as well, if a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, meaning the resources of both are shared equally. That's what it really goes into. It doesn't actually mean that he hates this one and he actually loves this one. Because for you to go with somebody and be a seed with them, it means that you love them both. Alright? If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they are born and they have borne him children, like I said, the beloved, which is the one receiving more of the resources, or not being strenuous of receiving resources, to be exact, and will be loved, and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be when he maketh his son to inherit that which he had, that he may not make the son of the beloved first before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated, meaning despite how you treat the other versus you treat this one, if this one has your firstborn, this one is to be acknowledged and given him a double portion of all that he had, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is he, as mentioned. See that? So it also shows you that if you have multiple wives and children with multiple wives, there are criteria that have to be met, identifying and showing that polygyny is accepted. Polygyny, G-Y-N-Y. Notice, not the polygamy. Polygyny. I have to clarify because people will try to take your words and twist it. We don't want that. All right. It has been accepted. Polygyny. All right. And we see this showcasing in the story with Jacob, with Leah, and I believe what Leah gave him to give. Oh gosh. Leah gave Zipporah, I believe is her servant, to Jacob also, and then Rachel, and from Rachel to Bilhah, I believe. Let me just. I feel like I might be butchering it. No, the Leah is Zilpha. So like, I'm not for sure. But the one, let me just get the next one. I feel like I'm butchering that one. But it's just a showcase. Come on. What is really going into? Let's go to Genesis chapter 30 verses 1 to 4, just to be exact. When Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, Give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, Am I in God's stead, who had withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? And she said, Behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her, and shall give him Bilhah her handmaid to wife. To what? Wife. Because for those who don't know, who hadn't read and pay attention to scriptures, sex, according to law and testimony, is marriage. And we see that being identified or clarified, or let's see this being an example, the timing with when Isaac's mother had passed, and what took place. Let's read. It says Isaac brought her into, let me read from verses. Okay, Isaac brought her into his mother's tent, which is what, Rebecca, right? Mother's tent, and took Rebecca, and she became his wife. Notice there was no ceremonies being played off there. That word took already goes into what they did. They would have had intercourse, because let's get that word in the NLT, in the Blue Letter Bible. So as we continue, it shows you in the outline biblical usage to take, to get, to fetch, to lay hold of. And we see this term being used, and I believe Deuteronomy 22, I believe, dealing with if somebody forcefully lay with another woman that is either betrothed or promised to somebody, is known as adultery, and he's going to be put to death, roughly paraphrasing. I don't know about it. And if he forces himself on a female that is not betrothed or promised to someone, roughly paraphrasing, then she is going to be his wife, but he cannot dismiss her or anything, or put she away no matter what, according to the scriptures. Now notice what it says: lay hold of. Exactly what is mentioned. And lay hold of, according to that context, was not referring to grab someone, as we know. So lay hold of, according to this, would be the same, because he took her into his mother's tent, and she became his wife. In order for that to happen, intercourse would have to take place. All right. And I could show you that also in the definition, where it says to take, in the widest variety application, accept, bring, buy, to carry away, to draw, to fetch. Here's the point: get in full, many, mingled. That's the point. The mingle. What does it mean to mingle? What does it mean to mingle? Mingle have various meanings. One main meaning intercourse. One very prominent meaning, even in this day and age, it's known for that. Let's be real. So I'll just show you something. So, but let me. So like my eyes scratching me. But let's go back into the information being brought forth. So we could do a lesson on that after, I believe, dealing with if sex is marriage, whatever the case is, just to get a better understanding, right? So Genesis 30, Salak, and verses 4, as it says, she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife, meaning to go in onto, which she said, go in onto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. So Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. So the reason why it was so easy for them to partake or do that is because it was already been understood of it not being unlawful, and the women back then was not so corrupted by the system and the ways of Esau Edom in the Western Hemisphere as we have today. So even if they disagree with the fact, it is still not unlawful. It's not a sin to have more than one wife. It's simple. This is why we continue to apply Isaiah 8 and 20. Because even when you go back into Genesis chapter 16, dealing with Abraham, with Sarah and Hagar, Genesis 21, I will just go into a few of the forefathers. We don't understand this already with more information. But Genesis 21, not to prevent this video from being long, I'll make it short. Like